This is Forward Unlimited with your hosts, Constantine and Susanna.
What's up, everybody? Inside the theater, the Galaxy Theater in Vegas, EP Forum. And I got to tell you something. I've talked about this many times, creating your opportunities, okay? I want to tell you a little story right now. I spoke to this person. Let's call her Susanna in this story, okay? And I told her about there's this forum that it's executive protection based, and I'd like you to see if you're open to coming down. She comes down. I tell her it's a networking environment. She goes, okay. Not even 2 hours into this session here, she has a conversation with Byron Rogers at the break. And she's letting Byron know, Byron, where are the women as your presenters? And Byron goes, well, look, we had some scheduling issues. Last year we had it. So then it goes, no. Where are they this year? Fast forward 5 minutes, and she's going to be on the panel right now, okay? So we're going to see Susanna on the panel, unscripted. The key word is organic. The key phrase here is create your opportunities. Never, ever, ever back down. And I'm telling you guys right now, if you do what Susanna did in anything that you do in life and create those opportunities, we talked about Jaslene Singh with Chief Niche for Appeal. Right now, we're going to see her speak to a very male-dominated crowd about social media and the tie-in to executive protection. Any thoughts to the viewer?
Thank you for sharing my story. I mean, you can't be shy in this type of environment. If you feel like you have a solution to a problem, offer it. What's the worst that can happen? Someone will say no. Okay, someone else will say yes. So that's kind of how I approach this.
So great. And again, if somebody is shy out there, maybe Susanna is going to put a course together on how to break out of the mold, because this is literally how you do it. I'm very impressed with this, and I'm actually looking forward to see what she's going to say unscripted right now.
I'm looking forward to what I'm going to say too.
Okay.
So
all right. Well, we'll see how it goes.
Now is, hey, I'm starting a new company. How do I go about finding the right client? What are some things I need to do? Is this the space I need to? And just looking at some of the questions that we have up here, right? And Susanna, maybe you can help us because this is your specialty. What does it look like when you have a sound but controversial principles and you express them in social media yet thrive in EP as a professional?
Okay, well, I'd like to take a few steps back before answering that question, because I think this is relevant. I like the two opposing views here, really on social media and then not at all. So there's pros and cons to that. I'm more of like you, I'm a 1,000 away from 20,000 on LinkedIn, so I get the appeal. So what I like to ask my clients is, when I Google you, what will I find? And no matter if you are in the industry, if you are on social media or not, there will be always something about you. And even if there isn't anything about you, it's like, do you have something to hide? And that's the assumption. You always have to deal with people's assumptions. But if there's too much, then how do you manage that? How do you have digital hygiene? How do you monitor your Google and what people see from you? And we live in a world where if you have social media, I have access to everything that you're doing, how you look like, your personality on social media, and I'm able to make an assumption about you without you even knowing that.
Do you have more?
Yeah, I do, but
Go ahead.
So the question is, you want to start a business, you have controversial views, that's fine, that makes you different. That could be used as your differentiator within the market, because there's many EP companies, there are many security companies, consulting companies, everyone wants to be that big shot within the industry, but they don't realize that you need to have a unique value proposition and a differentiator in the market. So how do you get that? And it's good to be controversial, but you have to remain apolitical, not involve religion, not involve what other people are saying, or take things personally and post about it, because that is the end game. Yeah, counterproductive.
Yeah, and I think too, something that should be really recognized in this conversation is you really do have to make sure that whatever it is attached to your style, right? So with the new agents I work with, they go to my school, it's like, what is your style? How do you want to show up? What is your end game? What are your goals? He's sitting here extremely successful in this game, staying off the radar, staying under the radar, and I'm sitting here, whatever it is, but being having taken a completely different route. And so I think the main thing is that whatever approach you're taking, be very aware of it and be willing to deal with the outcomes and consequences, for sure.
So staying on that, with what Susanna was saying, you were saying on consequences, another question kind of ties into that. So you've built that level of success, you try to remain somewhat apolitical, right? So you've garnered that attention. Now, answering the question, are you ready for when your client sends you a friend request?
This is a real one. Sorry. So 2 ways to deal with, things that can be taken the wrong way through your social media. One is to be very careful about what you put out and be very dynamic with everything and slow and steady, so that any piece of content that's scrutinized, like you really, really understand every piece about it and can defend it and you feel good about it, and be very sure. The other way is volume, which, that's kind of my approach, which is you're gonna see a pattern, you're gonna see the reality of who I am, because the volume that I'm literally meeting people here that I essentially have a relationship with, because if they're following me on social media, they've spent hours with me this week, probably, right? They understand a lot about who I am and what I'm all about, and that gives you the ability to really cause buy-in and or cause the people who really do appreciate what you have to come to your brand, because they're actually having a really ongoing relationship with you. Now, with the clients giving you a DM, this is a real thing, and it's something that I deal with all the time. You really have to make sure that your values are aligning and that you're aware of what you put out, because that's going to happen. And it's essentially like getting extra face time. The closer you are to the fire, the higher probability that you're going to make a mistake, you're going to have a conversation that's not good, things like that. So you have to be very aware of that, and every single thing that you publish, you have to be publishing it with the mind of, my clients are going to see this, my kids someday are going to see this cannot go away. So words, bullets, and anything you put on the internet you can never take back. And that's the way, you're playing for keeps, essentially.
It really depends how you want to position yourself in the market. So you can be the friendly type, you can be the anonymous type, and you can be the vulnerable type. And I'm more of the vulnerable type and transparent type on social media myself. So I got into entrepreneurship 3 years ago, and I post about my successes and a lot about my failures and how it is to get a no, or how, for instance, last week I got rejected from Forbes to be a contributing writer, and that really hit me because it sucks, when you spent like, thank you, when you spend like 3 months into a process and then you just get a no, and it's the things that you don't see behind the scenes, because usually people are like, I got into Forbes, and it's like, I'm successful, but you don't actually see the 10 articles or the interviews that happened, or when a client rejects you, not because they don't like your services, but because of who you are in the industry. Like being a young female entrepreneur in the security industry that doesn't have military background or law enforcement background, that came from academia, and here I am preaching social media and marketing, even though I do have boots on ground experience. I worked in the guard management world. I have a master's in disaster and emergency management. But still, at some points, people are like, why would I pay money for you if I can have some gentleman that has 20 years of experience in law enforcement that can do it better? And I'm like, okay, you'll be back. But the thing is, we live in a different world right now where social media has become part of our identity. It's not like, even when you get your passport renewed now, even when you go to apply for a visa to a different country, all of the screening process, your social media, the way that you interact with other people, that is all scanned, that is all viewed. When you get hired, it's just part of the process. So if you are a business owner or you're trying to become a consultant and working on your personal brand, you really, really need to get your ducks in a row.
So I'm glad you brought that up, how social media is existing in this world and everyone is learning to function within it. One of the questions here is, how do you deal with clients who overshare from a risk perspective on their social media platform?
Okay, I use social media impact almost like a strainer, like I want the people that are aligning with me, those are the best working relationships we've had. We've all been on accounts where it's like, man, I can do the job, I'm a professional, I'm gonna be solid, but it's way better when I align with them And a lot of that happens because they are also assessing who I am on those platforms, whether it's other agents, companies, all those work relationships. So I agree with you 100%. And breaking that mold drives progress and evolution in the space.
So now, hearing both of you say that, I actually now want to just hear from a social media consultant. The second part of that question,
Fine, Mike.
I'm just saying, somebody who works in the space, how should them, as individuals who pretty much weaponize social media, how do they respond to that question that's pertaining to their political views? How would you go about advising, okay, great, this is your brand, this is your following, you own your space, you own your words, but you may not want to always polarize yourself.
Push the boundaries. So I like what the two gentlemen have said. Own what you post, but also be authentic. And that's good, but you also, at the end of the day, I'm gonna say something controversial. It's not about you. At the end of the day, it's about your audience as well. So it's, if you know your audience reciprocates to that information, then you're golden. But if your audience is not reciprocating and all you're getting is comments that are in disagreement with you and you're not adding value to their day-to-day operations or not adding value to their life, so maybe it is time to re-strategize and get another strategy on social media and potentially re-clarify yourself and start posting in another matter. And that's what I would say. And at the end of the day, as you've mentioned, we are consulting you. We're gonna tell you the best practices on social media. We're gonna tell you what to do, what not to do, the best times to post, what content is trending, what hashtags to use, and it is up to you if you want us to manage it for you and you work on growing your business, or it is something that you wanna apply and make it part of your lifestyle. Because it's not something that you do once a day. I mean, once a week. You do it once a day. And it's about consistency. And I think that is the biggest message that I can give you guys is consistency in your messaging, in your value proposition, and keep telling your differentiator. Because you don't want to be a copy-paste, as you've mentioned, within the industry.
Well, now staying in that energy, that actually touched upon a question that we have here. So hearing from Byron, knowing how you utilize social media, Jared, how you utilize it, and your perspective from someone that consults in it, what are the considerations and should you take to effectively grow your brand on social media with everything we just spoke about?
Okay, I'll take that on. So, social media on LinkedIn, which is the main platform that I use, and it is the best platform for the security industry. However, if you are managing guards and you are looking to recruit, Facebook and Instagram is your demographic. Usually individuals that are looking into becoming a guard do not go on LinkedIn. It's something that you need to tell them that is an opportunity for them if they do want to rise within the security industry. However, on general spectrum for the security EP, it's LinkedIn. So how do you grow? You post 3-5 times a week. You don't reshare posts because that is resharing someone else's thoughts, not your original thoughts. LinkedIn likes unique content. If you are not able to produce unique content, I suggest you hire someone that will be able to guide you with that. If you have a business, have a business page. You need to have your brand solidified. It needs to be legitimate. Have a website, even if it's a one-pager. It shows that you are taking yourself and your business serious, and it can navigate your clients to learn more about you. Your personal LinkedIn is where you should focus on and then push people to look at your business. You are the brand at the end of the day. If you have several employees, you need to have courses where you educate them on your brand and how to protect your brand. Because if they do something on behalf of your company, you will be accountable anyways. You need to pick 3 topics that you want to focus on in your messaging. If, for instance, I talk about entrepreneurship, international travel, and lifestyle within the security industry, and now I have footprints in other markets, so I'm expanding. But you need to identify those 3. And then, how do you storytell? And that's what I really, really liked about your story, is that you took your story and you told it. You didn't sell it like, hey, my name is Susanna, please go on www.evolutz.com, my phone number is blah, 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 buy our services. And that's unfortunately what we see all the time with security companies, is that it's just a banner, we're hiring, we're cool, please come hire us, but everyone's doing that. So what's your story? How are you gonna say it? That was a lot. Thank you for listening.
This podcast is brought to you by Executive Protection Lifestyle Canada. Make sure to drop by next week and don't forget to subscribe. This episode is brought to you by The Arena. The Arena focuses on helping law enforcement and security professionals achieve their ultimate work experience, curriculum, and fitness goals. Visit thearenatoronto.com.